this time.
I will say just a quick note before we get into the thick of things here, right? Chieftain, I need to see some more proactivity from that Rek'Sai, if you're going to pick the Rek'Sai again, but just something more proactive.
He tried.
But I need something that's going to go against Shadow. We're already here, though. Picks and bans underway. You said the Rise was banned away. The Thresh, the Caitlyn by LGD. Zeri, Gwen, Mordekaiser. A little bit of love there to Fearness. Banned away by TT. The first pick, Hecarim. Probably my favorite pick in the LPL.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like how the Hecarim has come in again against a lot of these compositions like the Jinx and the Corki. I really also like the fact, ever since the Turbo Chem Tank change, in terms of like stacking that damage up and then getting that one really big burst, I feel like we've seen it actually be pretty impactful. And then obviously other things like Force of Nature getting buffed. So I feel like a lot of things have changed around Hecarim that have made Hecarim come back in a strong place in the meta. Going back to draft though, no surprise that TP instantly go towards the Jinx pick themselves. And now to see if the pivot comes through, right? Because the expected pick would be the Corki, but maybe wanting to go towards a more aggressive setup. This time around, getting their hands on the Tahm Kench. JinJiao in game 1 had some really nice, dives coming out, so maybe able to find some more aggressive picks coming through with this one.
SouthWind wanting his hand at the catfish there. He's like, that looked like fun. I didn't have as much fun on the Blitzcrank. I don't know if we'll see that Blitzcrank again. As you said, though, in that first game, like it was catching people off guard, but in the end, did it really matter? Famous leak at the park. As Orianna is locked in for LGD. A lot of the similarities, I feel like, with some stability in the mid lane, but it loses that Realm Warp. It loses that proactivity that I felt like Jay was buying so well into last game.
I still feel like it's a pretty good setup, right?
With
because
the Hecarim, yeah.
There's not, yeah, I mean, you have the Hecarim setup as well. There's not really too many matchups that really body Orianna, if any at all. Orianna can just farm safely against most, and especially in this meta, we know she does a pretty nice time in lane against like meta champions. Obviously, the Rise being banned, but Corki being the other notable one. TT, though, going to go with another aggressive early game jungler, going to be bringing out the Xin Zhao this time around, so going to be able to be a bit of an annoyance to both Jay and Eric in those team fights once he pops that ultimate. So for TT, I like that they've saved their soul lane picks to try and get something that facilitates their draft better than last time around, where they committed very early on to a direction and then were kind of left with their hands up with a comp that was a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, I want to go back. I know I've talked a lot about Shadow versus Chieftain there, and especially the Rek'Sai last game where I felt like it was a little bit lackluster. I feel like in this game specifically with the Xin Zhao locked in, you have a little bit more of that, ace in your sleeve where if
you
things
have like
go
more of a
wrong,
fallback,
yeah,
right?
exactly. You have something to fall back on, which is the Crescent Guard, which is a fight busting ability if you get it right. And I think that's huge for TT if they're going to look for a resurgence in this series specifically. But we're already in the second phase of bans. We're Karma banned by TT on the red side. It is the Vigar ban for LGD on the blue side. We'll see what that final ban is going to be. But more than likely, back to the focus of this mid lane matchup, and it's the Azir.
Yeah, really interesting coming out, right? Knowing that there's not too many current meta answers to the Orianna. Vigar being a decent one who is with that Predator being able to try and impact sides. Also wanting to take away the Azir, not wanting to go toe-to-toe in those team fights. But we do get the Akali coming out. Will obviously struggle early in a range versus melee matchup, but later on trying to find some assassination opportunities. Still though, LGD do have a very durable composition. The Hecarim, it looks like LGD gonna just round themselves out with more tanks. We've already hit on Fearness' champion pool, typically going more towards that tanky side. Heck, after last game, Ornn now is Fearness' most played champion.
Yeah, I mean, just lock it in, man.
You have the Orianna shield coming out for Eric, who also can go towards, more lifesteal options to try to also just take away that assassination potential coming out from UCal. So I feel like LGD, once again, coming out with a very solid draft. And you hit on it in game 1 that, easier to execute. You look at what LGD are drafting, it looks like right now they're trending towards this Braum. Front-to-back team fight, very straightforward, easy to execute. You have the Wombo combo set up there. You have the DPS. You have a little bit of burst. So LGD, I like what they put together so far. Now we're going to see what New is willing to go for in the top side. Obviously, a lot of things can run into the Ornn. I'm curious if TT will want to go to maybe more of a side laning comp. I wonder.
Yes, this is
I was
what
gonna
I
wonder
want.
if he's willing to play things like the Fiora, but Camille has been New's most played champion so far.
I want aggression in the top lane. I know we were saying, these two top laners do differ in the style they bring. Well, we're getting that on display here. We've got Fearness's Ornn. We've got New's Gangplank coming through. And it's a lot different of play styles coming to the top side. But I do feel like we'll get a little bit of the same flavor that we got last game, where not as much focus towards that top side.
Yeah, and I feel like TT have done some good things in this draft, right? Because when you look at the crux of LGD's composition, it is immobile carries. And Cannon Barrage does so much against that in team fights, as well as the Shroud coming out from UCal. So I feel like this game really looks like it'll be up to New and UCal later on to be the ones to, break the formation of LGD apart, get Akali on that backline with the Shroud, Cannon Barrage splitting members up. And all of this is also buying space for Puff to be able to freely hit that front line. So I think TT have come out with a much better draft this time around than they did in game one. For LGD, though, again, we hit on it. It is very stock and standard, very clear win conditions of what they're going to be aiming to do as well.
And I'm still really interested that the Nautilus didn't get picked up. It was banned away in game number one, and they, LGD had the possibility to pick it up for their support in the second phase, but they went with the Braum instead.
I think it makes
a little
sense.
bit more of that single target selection, that kind of multitude from the Braum, and I actually think so too, right? Like fitting that into this composition works really well.
Also, the fact that, you have things like the hook and the ultimate coming out from the Nautilus, which Tahm Kench just completely negates. So instead of going, hey, we're going to bring out the Braum, we're going to play front to back, we're going to look to kite you out, even if there's a bit more range coming out from that Jinx, still having 2 range carries on the side of LGD. So LGD, I like the Braum pick. We're going to get to see, Mazel, we know with these two teams, it's going to come down to execution.
It all comes down to execution with these two squads going at it. We'll see as TT versus LGD, game number 2 kicking off now. Can TT scrap back into this series, or do LGD go ahead and mark that 2-win victory into their series column here? We'll find out as TT take to the Rift against LGD in this second game.
The thing I'm curious about for TT is what opportunities Chieftain will be able to find, right? Because you don't have gank set up in really any of your lanes. You don't have a ton of burst coming out from any of your laners other than UCal, especially once he hits that level 6 point. So for Chieftain, some things I'm thinking about is you could look to try and put some early pressure on mid, maybe try and blow a flash from Jay and then look for a repeat gank at 6. But looks like TT wanting to look for a bit of a level 1.
They will spot them out, though. Or taken care of by TT as they move in with 4 bodies here. I think they're going to go for that invade at least as the red buff does spawn Shadow. Realizing what could be going on, starting on his wolves this time around. But this is that proactivity I wanted from Chieftain.
Yeah, so both junglers is going to, take away one small camp. Obviously, Shadow, his own jungle Chieftain, looking for the Raptors. So both junglers should be able to come out of this level 2. Chieftain will just back off from that. So still net positive for the side of TT. If Chieftain were to look to be more aggressive, or TT as a whole, right? That's why JinJiao and Eric were sticking around to buy time, let Shadow do those wolves, and then if anything happened, he comes in, he's level 2, you can look for that skirmish. So
interesting path, though, for
both sides.
Shadow here, I will say. He obviously had to start the wolves there, bypassing the red buff, realized there could be vision around there, going for the Krugs instead.
Also, right, your Hecarim, very easy to clear these multi-unit camps with your AoE damage. He's also going to get to hold onto his red buff a little bit longer if he does want to look for any plays. I don't think as Shadow you feel any pressure at all to look for early ganks with the composition that you put forward. For LGD in the early game win condition, right, I feel like it is a lot about just trying to get down a nice ward line, either in your own jungle and river, try and counteract and look for what Chieftain's doing, and just allow the scaling to be able to come online.
I do want to check in, Chieftain heading towards this top side of the map after that early invade. I do wonder if we get that change up of focus from TT now on the red side. But we set up at the beginning, they love to play through bot lane, and we got to see that adaptation from Chieftain if he does want to make it so. Jay going for the ward onto the chicken camp. We'll see that it's still there, but at least LGD getting a bit of vision advantage there themselves.
Yeah, and in terms of talking about these junglers, right, both wanting to look for the Scuttle Crab, you have prios in different areas. For LGD,
they're gonna walk in there. Wait,
though, so Jay much closer.
This is a nice little skirmish. It did go to Shadow though. He had the quicker finger on the smite.
Yeah, and like I was highlighting, right? Both teams having their prio in different places. It looks like, though, Chieftain wanting to look for an aggressive invade on top
Man.
side.
This is so wild, this early game. We're getting junglers all over the place. We're getting a 3v2 as the command attack connects on the Chieftain. Chieftain's just trying to do the blue buff. Shadow trying to get it himself. He doesn't have smite. First blood goes over to New, and afterwards LGD are routed. How does this happen? TT come out with 2 kills.
For the side of TT, you were highlighting the aggression that you wanted to see come out from their side, getting more prio in their lanes this time around than they had last time, realizing they can look for these aggressive plays and try and snowball from very early on. Chieftain so far just completely abusing Shadow, stealing away that first camp, now finding these kills in the enemy jungle. And for TT's bot lane too, everything's going smooth sailing for them. So we're gonna see how it happens here. Shadow looking to come in for LGD. They think, hey, we have 3 members here first because we can push mid. This isn't our top side jungle, we can bring Fearness around. But Fearness not able to find any impact in the fight before the other members come through. New cheekily waiting in that brush, able to get a nice bit of damage down as well. And even just Chieftain just being on a bit of a stronger early game jungler in the Xin Zhao compared to the Hecarim. So overall, again, just nice use of the tools they had to find the advantage so far. So for TT, it's about a 1K gold lead. For LGD again, you expect them to fall a little bit behind with how the compositions have panned out. As long as they don't fall too far behind, I think it is completely fine for LGD. So the ball's still in TT's court and how they're going to look to snowball this advantage forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that needs to come off the back of continued movements like that from Chieftain. Speaking of movements, though, we have SouthWind on a roam here. We'll spot out Shadow doing the chickens. On the way here, but they're just gonna buy a little bit more time.
Oh, SouthWind got one, Mazel.
Hey, catfishes are hungry. Okay, catfishes. I don't know what the plural is of catfish. I think it's just catfish. But Chieftain and Puff doing the dragon to the bot side will be the first objective of the game, going to TT.
Yeah, TT. So again, just bringing this momentum forward. You get the invade on top side. Resets, of course, come out from junglers. Chieftain then gonna head to the bot side. They're able to take this dragon away. So not only securing the early advantage, but at least starting to make their way towards that scaling win con of the Dragons. And in terms of scaling damage in general, right, TT's late game is also very good. All 3 of Akali, Gangplank, and Jinx will become absolute monsters. So for TT, finding some nice momentum. Yukao looks like he is going to be going towards that tank Akali, which we haven't seen too much of in the LPL.
Yeah, I love the bursty Akali. We'll see how it works out for Yukao, though, as they will need the damage profile. They'll need that tankiness, though, as well, as they have the GP, the Jinx already on top of that. We do see Chieftain, the bot side, trying to go for another lane gank here, but will not be pulled off. Still, though, adhering to their win conditions, just making sure that if there's something that can be done in bot lane, Chieftain is there to do so.
Yeah, now that Yukao's level 6, this is where he'll start being able to find some pressure in this matchup from the kill threat that he does have with that level 6, especially with the threat of Chieftain on the map. If Jay ever walks too far forward, he's able to find a W and close the distance with his E onto Jay, and very easily be bursted out with the follow-up from the Akali.
Chieftain back in the mid lane. Shadow was pathing towards that top side of the map, going back towards this bottom side. And we're going to get Shadow Chieftain against each other once again. It's going to be a little 1v1 at least at the start. See if Shadow wants to go for it. Yukao first since he has priority. So it's just going to be a scuffle over the Chicky Nuggies. Yukao and Chieftain moving in now. They want to smite away the big chicken. Does get achieved. Chieftain gets that next smite stack up there as well, completing it. And we'll get the red smite.
Nice, timing coming out from Chieftain as well. I'm not sure if they had vision of when Shadow took his second Raptors or not, but whether he did or not, right, just being conscious of the fact that they have this prio in mid, they also have had push and bot this whole time, so being able to look to continue building on the advantages that they found before. Rift Herald, though, is about to come up. Looks like SouthWind is moving first, and since SouthWind is moving first, it opens up a window where Eric and JinJiao can push in the next wave and keep Puff under tower, and then roam both of their bot laners up, which will give them a small window where they have numbers advantage. So curious if LGD will do that, or if they're just going to commit to trying to get some gold back into their corner. That's what it looks like they're going to do.
Yeah, Shadow just spotted out on that control ward, so Chieftain taking that priority to do the Rift Herald here. Another objective started up by TT, and they've been doing a lot better in their map control this game than last game.
almost like drafting a more
No
aggressive
way.
like setup with your early game jungler allows you to make more plays, Mazel.
Proactivity.
I love it. You don't take the corky, and you can look for the aggression that you're trying to find in the first game. And with that aggression, right, just look at the minimap. TT keeping up vision pretty much all across the map. Anywhere Shadow goes,
Look at this, though.
TT will have full knowledge of.
They've got pings coming down to the bot side. They're also bringing Jay down here. They have Shadow. He is level 6. They're trying to catch out a Puff in the transition there, and he will not fall for the bait. Like just a little bit of time spent to that bot side. Oh, no, new. The Ornn will be flashed away from.
Yeah, still not a good look by New, having to burn that summoner in lane. It will give an opportunity for TT to try to set up a dive on that top side. And, you know, SouthWind feeling pretty happy because sure, Puff got zoned off CS. That sucks. Ooh.
He was like a
He's
millisecond from getting away. It does have the devastating charge to make sure he does get out of there. Oh no, top lane though. Fearness, he gets the outplay! Oh, it's a 1-for-1. New still alive up there, and now here comes Jay. No Realm Warp to separate the distance, and the barrels will be in the way. Oh, Jay can do it. Shockwave! New healing so much from the orange. Here comes Shadow. Devastating charge. No, it's the onslaught of Shadows, baby. As Jay comes out with their first kill, or their second kill of the game, rather.
Everything was going in favor of TT. They were looking for the aggressive invades. They were setting up so nice with both New and UCal. Then the top lane dive doesn't go right, and it gives LGD a window to go back in. So we're going to see how it all starts here.
Chieftain just not
Looks like
on
they're
the committal.
waiting. Yeah, Chieftain does wait to get the knock-up on the third hit, but New not able to get in with any damage. You don't have the cannon barrage available either because you used the cannon barrage in the prior play. But and it opens up for Jay to be able to come. Shadow, of course. You know, if Shadow was allowed to recall on bot side, maybe New wouldn't die here.
Yeah,
so
actually.
TT, but by TT canceling Shadow's back in bot side, they kind of threw New to the wolves.
Yes, it's all part of the plan. LGD, it's coming to fruition. We just have it's all a mind game. It's all just fun and games for LGD. TT starting up the dragon here, hoping that none of their decisions will affect them in the future like it did just now for Shadow, but it is still an objective started up for TT. They have done such a night and day difference in this game comparatively in the control of this bottom side, right? We had Chieftain trying for the ganks at bot side all game long last time around, but it didn't end up in anything. But this time it feels like TT have a solid hold of the bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, even in terms of top lane, right? I mean, TT had control up until the failed dive. Sure, you did have to burn a flash earlier, but we could see now UCal having the pressure in mid lane. He can just constantly hover up towards that side of the map. And even sets up for TT to have potential windows where they can look to play both sides. Jay does have TP, still will not be unleashed for a few minutes, so can potentially dissuade any dives coming out on the side lanes, but still, UCal can look for some easy ganks, as we see again, just pushes the wave so fast.
Rift Herald available for Chieftain. He's into the lane of bot side, but both junglers are now here, and Chieftain trying to go for a lane gang, not being spotted out just yet, but the push from Eric will be huge. SouthWind on the edge here. They're TP. They are pulling the trigger on this fight. SouthWind misses the Abyssal dive, and it might have all been for naught. Shadows here. They're TPing now from LGD. The Glacial Fissure goes wide. Abilities just flying everywhere. There's the onslaught of Shadows. SouthWind is the target, but is that who you want to go for? UCal is here, and 2 kills drop. TT pick him up. Eric is now in some trouble. UCal gets knocked up. They can't chase this down, or can they? Here comes Jay. Does have the shockwave available and will be flashed away from the Moonlight Vigil to utilize on top of it too. Abilities just flying out everywhere, Lyric.
Yeah, ultimately TT come out as the winners. New though, on the wrong side of the tower.
Let's get some damage
gonna be
up.
fine.
Yeah, not too bad.
Okay. Also, I can't wait. You know, I've been saying this all night because when you have these teams playing, right? Abilities, like you said, abilities are going all over the place. Newest Cannon Barrage was on absolutely no one. I think he might have put it on where we saw Ornn running after the TP come through, but we're going to start here. The dive comes out from SouthWind. Eric having to burn the flash with this one. You look at the minimap, though, Akali is here, so LGD maybe not having full information of this one. They do go for the committal. They are able to kite back. SouthWind does have to burn a flash, and yeah, the Cannon Barrage, not really on anyone, but TT still pull it through.
That's the big importance
I guess
there.
it does cut off their escape
Yeah,
path, so
to some extent.
maybe that's what New was looking for.
But it's just the overextension from LGD, right? Getting baited a little bit by Chieftain going forward when they felt like they weren't in the right. And it's so interesting to get that push and pull. And, you know, I will say if some of those ultimates connected, this would be a much different game going on right now. But it is not. It is all about execution, as we've kind of mentioned from the beginning of the game. And it is TT who will still have that lead, about 3.3K.
Yeah, and Mazel, let's be honest. When we saw this series on paper, we knew this was a 3-gamer. There was no way LGD versus TT was not a 3-game series. Let's see if I jinx it. As Chieftain wanting to continue the aggression, and again, just the vision control coming out from the side of TT. Full information of where Shadow's been pretty much the whole game. Yukao with the prio, looking to move down and make sure that Chieftain's able to get this red buff.
Jay's
Up
right
and Southwind
there.
also fighting for tri-burst control.
Shadow's on the edge right here as well. He's just trying to buy some time through the Krug while he can. Onslaught of Shadows is just now about to come up. Not gonna be there just yet as Chieftain steals away the red buff.
Yeah, I feel like a critical thing was the fact that Puff and Southwind were winning the fight over tri-burst control, and the fact that Cannon Barrage already up for new, right? So if you look for the commit there, TT I feel like had more tools to be able to take the skirmish if you looked for the engage on Shadow and Jay. Both Eric and JinJiao would have to go the long way around, and Yukao now make his way towards the bot side. They want to look for the dive. Cannon Barrage is up.
They use it as the wave getting in some trouble here. Yukao does find it. Perfect execution into the fight here. Can they get the execution off itself? Glacial Fisher goes in. Nobody has died just yet. Chieftain can't get the damage with the wind becomes lightning. A lot of abilities used. A lot of summoner spells as well.
Yeah, that was so close, right? I mean, pretty much everything hit on the side of TT. Cannon Barrage did its damage. The rocket came out, was able to find his target. Yukao doing a ton with the engage coming in, but still not enough. They are able to guarantee bot lane turret, though. So they do get something, and New was covering them wave in mid. Looks like he's, you know, lost a couple waves on this top turret, but still not too many. So nice job of TT realizing, hey, we rotate New down to mid to make sure we aren't losing too much in the mid lane, bring him right back to top, and overall you covered all your bases. And look, we're already at a 4K gold lead. Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
40 CS advantage in top. But Yukao is down about 30 CS as well. So being evened out in other places.
All right, New's in some trouble here. He's got the devastating charge utilized onto him. He's tanking up a storm, but it ain't gonna be big of storm this time around. Fearness gets his second kill of the game. Eric trying to deal with the pressure in mid lane, does so.
Yeah, able to hold his own. This will lead to LGD being able to get themselves a Rift Herald, so some much needed gold. Looks like Fearness should be able to get this turret as well with no one coming up to answer. And TT, though, getting themselves onto Soul Point at only about 17 minutes in the game.
We will see Shadow doing the Rift Herald, though, as the first objective will go over to LGD. We do have a picture-in-picture replay. I guess that's where the flash from Jay was burned.
Yeah, nice job by Chieftain to find it. And again, Chieftain has lived in LGD's jungle so far, pretty much invading both sides, you know, depending on where he is pathing. So for LGD, they do close the gold lead by just a smidge, only by like 500 gold. And like we said, TT going to be on Soul Point, so we might get a very early Elder this game, which, hey, for LGD, if you're starting to fall behind, heck, if we get to Elder, one steal can completely turn the game.
That's absolutely true, and something we got to keep an eye out for Shadow, who will be looking to get into the back, has a lot of mobility on the Hecarim as well to get into the pits, so very exciting to get to those stages at least. Maybe not exciting for LGD to be in that position, but still a lot of playback opportunity available to them now as we do get a bit of a lull period here. It's still that stacking up for TT. It's still making sure that Puff and SouthWind are active on the map itself, and especially SouthWind, who not as many roams, I feel like, that went successfully as last game, but still having an impact nonetheless. We do look at Yukao and Chieftain in the top lane. Thought maybe they want to go for something a little bit finicky. We have New caught out on the bot side, though. TP's coming in on the other side from TT, though, but does New die already? Jay gets the kill. Yukao now in here. Perfect. Oh, my God, Yukao just obliterates Jay. He's still going for it, too. He goes forward. The Abyssal Dive coming out from SouthWind. Do they just catch Fearness now? JinJiao is here. They've got the man advantage. Just fight them, LGD. Glacial Fisher goes in as well. The ultimate's utilized, and immediately the back started for LGD. TT with the pressure.
Yeah, really nice movement from UCal, and again, it's a bit surprising to see him going this build because 12.2 is where this was slightly nerfed because of Akali. Of course, you know, right, the way new Turbo Chem Tank works this split is moving or dealing damage, fills it up, and then once you get to 100 stacks, you do deal one big chunk of burst. You used to be able to stack it very easily with your E, but they capped it out to now where movement abilities like that are capped at only 10 stacks compared to before where you could just E and get a ton of them. So UCal still making do is
couple ultis.
Eric throwing out a Zol.
We also got the new ulti as well. Oh my god, okay, LGD, just eat all the cannons. Why not?
You know, Mazel, it's fine. They're only 4K gold by Chieftain.
Oh no. Okay, Crescent Guard does separate a lot of the damage though, and Chieftain knew what he was doing when he goes in for that.
Yeah, Chieftain being completely fine does set up for New to take this turret in top side, and LGD just slowly bleeding out. Feels like they're not at a point where they really have the damage to contend into these fights. Shadow thinking about going for something, but in the end is just going to go for that Scuttle Crab on top side.
Puff does get excited, and the towers fall. That's all outer towers down now against LGD. They definitely want a little bit of that pressure back, but not going to find it. The lead continues to snowball, about 6,000 now for TT. Again, we got to reiterate that it's never a solid win if that is true, but it helps in the long term as we have about 1 minute 45 seconds till the Dragon. This is Soul for TT.
Yeah, now, you know, kind of looking across some of the items, Lord Dominic's coming out from New. I mean, the fact that he typically will be sidelining against Ornn. There's also Hecarim and Braum on the opposite side, right? Wanting to get that armor pen, and then just the bonus damage against champions with more max health than you. Gonna come very much in handy. Shadow Flame now picked up by UCal, so even stronger ability to delete these squishy targets on the side of LGD.
Yeah, the goal at least, but a couple more fights stand in the way of TT.
Hey, the goal's been working out so far.
Victory. Oh, Shadow's caught. He's gonna have to use the devastating charge, but can he get away? It doesn't seem that fast when you're a speedy horsey, but he does use the Onslaught of Shadows to get away. That's a big tool. Still short cooldown, but not available immediately.
I mean, and Chieftain committed a flash throw, right? Chieftain was hoping to find flash knockup. UCal was there, so if you get the knockup, potentially able to close the distance with the ulti or the E, be able to follow up once the ultimate from Shadow does come out and still be able to find the assassination, but still really fast fingers coming out from Shadow to make sure that that doesn't come through when he's able to get away.
Stepping up here, feeling filled with confidence here. He just stepped up to a non-visioned bush against a Braum. That's how confident TT are right now. As cannon, where the barrels will connect from New at least onto Fearness, doing a decent amount of damage. But it's all about the setup for this Dragon and for TT.
And I mean, for TT, right, they do have a bit of vision. LGD taking it back now, though, so we'll at least be able to find a way into the pit. Ultis are available, barring Shadow, so Fearness potentially can look for an engage here.
They're moving in through the mid lane, trying to keep the priority there. The Dragon already started up. Chieftain in the pit. Dragon about 3,000 health. Can they get to it? The big barrel's doing work. Cannon barrage in the middle. It is not taken by Shadow. Shadow will die, and that's the soul secured by TT. The Abyssal Dive gets 2 knockups. Moonlight Vigil is going to be a Moonlight Embrace, as that's huge for Eric to pull it back, but Puff gets the kill on the Shadow. Eric gets the kill on the SouthWind, and it is a trade of 1 for 1.
I mean, still, right, TT gets Soul at 22 minutes in the game. Both games in the series so far being decently one-sided and decisive. Once one team falls behind, honestly, they aren't really able to find a way back in. They aren't able to stem the bleeding, I feel like is a better way of putting it. Pretty much both these teams, once they fall behind, are just trying to ram their faces into the enemy team. TT, though, doing a nice job keeping up their aggression. UCal in this fight, consistently zoning the backline from being able to walk forward. Shadow tries to find the steal, but nice job by Chieftain to guarantee the smite. And with Shadow looking for the steal, of course, he's overcommitted, so it does go down to, in the end to the side of TT. But still, LGD able to find something back. It doesn't really feel all too prominent for their side. For TT now, they can go back to playing their 1-3-1 formation, get control of these side lanes, work their way towards mid.
Jay immediately flashes as he knows what's coming. The shockwave misses too, and Jay is just gonna slowly not die because JinJiao is there to help him out. Now Chieftain's trying to save UCal, but UCal, he's not gonna make it out this time around. Chieftain's gonna die too. This is what we're talking about. It's never certain for these teams, and TT just threw a Hail Mary.
Oh, Mazel, it was so tragic. UCal missed the last 5-point strike. I think he missed his first one as well, so that damage would have been enough to finish off Jay. Instead, it leads potentially to a Baron for the side of LGD. Tons of AoE, though, for TT.
New's doing some work here. The knockup connects. The concussive blows are there, but he can't get him. Shadow doesn't die. It's a 5v3, but TT are actually making it out alive. Pup is unstoppable right now. He Gale Forces forward, but now he's overextended. And does he die? The flash out, the triple knockup from SouthWind. No! Puff is gonna be unstoppable, and New chases down Shadow. As you thought, a triple kill for New. LGD, what happened?
Well, I totally understand what LG are going for, right? They found the 2 kills. They know they're behind. They need to look for the Hail Mary on the Baron. The side of TT, though, like we were saying, tons of AoE damage coming out, whether it's the barrels, the cannon barrage, just the rockets coming out from Puff. They were able to find it. Nice disengages, kind of baiting LGD in, setting up for that knockup. Now they're going to be able to turn towards this Baron. So LGD kind of throwing away a bit of their control just to gain back even more control.
Yeah, it was a Hail Mary pass into a Hail Mary pass. It's fine. It's just going back and forth. It's perfectly fine. But in all actuality, like, I feel like TT got a little bit lucky there that LGD overextended at least, but it's going back to taking advantage of the mistakes of your opponent, where both these teams will find success on.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to go to the Baron replay. We see them trying to force the side of LGD up Baron. And again, just look at how much these rockets are doing to the side of LGD. Puff, be very aggressive. Gale forces in. This makes LGD think they can find the play. If they didn't, right, Puff would have killed Jay, and he would have gotten the resets that could have chased him down. So I feel like trying to turn on Puff probably was their best call of action there. But it sets up for that beautiful knockup coming out from SouthWind, allowing New and Puff to be able to finish off all those kills.
And New just tanking up a storm where nobody was focusing on Puff at all. Very, very troubling for LGD in those decision-making fights, but it is TT in the bot side. They take the tier 2 tower, and now they're looking at the inhib tower.
Yeah, and for LGD, right, it just feels like a matter of time. I mean, Puff is hitting so hard, even onto tanky members like Fearness, who have 2 full items, almost the 3rd completed, as well as the Frostfire Gauntlet upgraded, so he is quite tanky, but still, 3 items on Puff. This is where he's incredibly strong.
It feels so hard to be able to kill anybody. Everybody's so tanky, and if they aren't, SouthWind is there with the Devour. And there's just nothing they can do. UCal is so fluid, so mobile on the Akali as well. As the inhib tower falls, it's Puff Gale forcing forward onto Eric. He's getting a little bit of taste of what he had last game. Will be inhib in the bot lane going down to Puff. Not just yet. They still have the minions here, though, and the last rocket will be in there. So first inhib falls as TT utilizes the pressure in bot lane to move towards mid.
Yeah, for TT now. I kind of would like if one member would move up towards top side and start getting that wave in order. It would open up a potential gauge from LGD, but I think TT even win 4v5 at this point as the Shadow.
Hey, this is a desperation.
Trying to set up for an opportunity.
This is desperation play from LGD. They were trying to set up the onslaught of Shadows in case TT stepped up there. They did not, and LGD realized they don't need to pull the trigger if it's not there. I will say, we're getting some ornaments here as 3 are now completed. Not too bad. I don't know if it's going to separate that 10,000 gold lead any much more, but TT will have some more scaling to deal with on the side of LGD.
So now all TT have to do is play this one patiently, right? Because Elder's coming up at 25 seconds, and I feel like this is LGD's best shot at finding that window back in the game, right? Trying to get a steal to come up from Shadow. But if you're TT, you just stand in front of Dragon, you pull it, you wait for those super minions to push in and bot, and you play the waiting game. Luckily for LGD, they do have both TPs available if they need to send one person to answer. But for TT, I just want to see them play this one patiently. Again, use the fact that you broke an inhibitor open and that you have that pressure on the map.
Puff is on his way down, gonna clear out that mid lane a little bit more, but you see LGD.
Oh my God,
actually
four
getting
stopwatches,
off.
Mazel.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the inventories are looking mighty stacked at this point. UCal actually on the side here trying to find out Shadow, but it is that bot lane that you have to worry about. Mid lane priority gained again by TT. Jay has to be on the side lane to deal with the super minions, and TT forming themselves around this Elder Dragon.
Yeah, and UCal trying to find an angle to wrap around and potentially find a pick.
At this point, it has to be a steal from Shadow, right? Like, there's no way they're taking that 5v5 fight at this point with this gold lead for TT. The Dragon about half health now. TT back away from it, pull it out, but it resets. The cannon barrage utilized. Look at UCal on the side here. They don't even want the Dragon. They just want your lives. Arab dies here, and so does JinJiao. There's just nothing that LGD can do about it. Shadow's running around like a madman, but everybody's dying around him, and that's the TP into the base, and that's TT taking the base of LGD. They're going to finish off this second game slowly but surely and bring us to that penultimate 3 games for this series we all knew was coming.
See, Mazel, it worked. We prayed to the TT goddess known as Kelsey Moser, who's going to be casting later today. TT got the buff. They powered up. They dominated the early game. Chieftain sat in Shadow's jungle, otherwise known as Chieftain's second jungle, and they crushed them. They crushed them, Mazel.
It was all planned from LGD. This was meant to happen. They wanted to make sure we got 3 games in totality for this series because they knew that it's on the edge of its seat. It's crazy. What do we get for this 3rd game? Who knows?